Okay. Hi, Larry. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Kathy Zhang with the Sound of Hope Media Group. So my question is, among all those problems that California is facing, in your opinion, what is the most fundamental problem? And how would you address it if you are elected to the governor?
Well, I think the most fundamental problem is the most fundamental job of government, which is to protect people and property. And I would say the rise in crime. What I would do, of course, is to use my bully pulpit to defend the police against allegations that they are engaging in systemic racism. So they go back to proactive policing. The proactive policing stops crime in many ways. Once you become passive, bad guys know it, and crime goes up. And I would certainly support the recall elections of the two assistant DAs that I just now mentioned in San Francisco and in Los Angeles. I would not be releasing prisoners early the way Gavin Newsom has done. And according to the Associated Press, there's something like 75,000 additional prisoners who are eligible for early release over the coming months and coming years. I would reverse that policy as well. I also think that we need to build enough prisons to store people who committed bad things. One of the reasons that the prisons have been thinned out is because of so-called prison overcrowding. I think people who commit crimes should be put behind bars for the length of their sentences, and I'm going to be tough on crime. So those are some of the things I'm going to do.
Okay, can I have a follow-up question?
Sure.
Yeah, so in regards, you also mentioned that Proposition 47, since it's passed, a lot of the law enforcement agencies, they do admit it kind of hindered how they enforce the laws, and the public are also very concerned. But the issue is the Proposition 47 was passed by the voters in California. So, right. Yeah, so what's your opinion on this?
Well, I wouldn't say that the police say it sort of hindered them. I'd say it hindered them a great deal. I spoke with Sheriff Alex Villanueva, and he said Proposition 47 took away our stick. The stick was if people who are doing drugs, stealing to do drugs, don't have the fear of going to jail, there's nothing we can do to them. So I would urge the repeal of Proposition 47. You're quite right, the voters did pass it. I think they were misled. I think the intention was good. The idea was that people who steal often do so to support a drug habit, and rather than go to prison, they should be going to drug treatment and rehab. But without the threat of them going to prison, you can't force them to go into rehab. The way it used to be before Proposition 47 is either you go to jail or you go to rehab. Now you no longer have the threat of sending people to jail. There's also the problem of cashless bail, also supported by these two DAs in San Francisco and in Los Angeles. If somebody commits a crime and they're free without any real penalty, if they don't go to prison, if they don't show up for their court date, it turns into a warrant, and you therefore don't have the stick to make sure they show up to court and ultimately do their time. So for all those reasons, I would urge people to repeal Proposition 47 because I think the voters were misled into thinking it was going to be humane, when in fact it's caused all sorts of problems. Not least of which is that people can now steal up to $950, not just every day, but at every store. And if they get caught, they get a ticket. They're not convicted felons. And so a lot of people are hurt, including a disproportionate number of stores and shops that are owned by minorities. And in the Bay Area, something like several Walgreens have been shut down and the hours have been restricted. So people working there are now being hurt as well, in addition to customers being inconvenienced. So again, I'm going to have a whole different tone there. And the tone is going to be the number one responsibility of government is to protect people and property. And in my opinion, this governor is not doing that.
Okay. Thank you.